a lot of my ventures have been around trying to bring more innovation and a more client-driven approach to very traditional areas. And law is wonderful. There's a lot of wonderful traditions in the law, but I also think we still need more innovation in the law, and we need to be more client-driven and more efficient. So, for instance, PARC is my venture really that tries to bring together in-house counsel, outside counsel, and legal technologists into an online platform so that we can all share knowledge with each other and make sure that we have a strong professional network, each individual member, as well as collectively, we're learning how to better work together, make better use of technology, learn more about the sort of business community from our clients, who, after all, are experts in where business meets law. So that's really I try to make those side. If you're talking about side entrepreneurship, which is what I do, it has to sort of uh, rhyme well or mesh well with my day job, and so that's what interests me.
But so talk to me a little bit about Park and how it came to be and what's that all about and why you're excited about your latest venture.
Absolutely. So there's several different strands that I can go down. I'll try to keep it brief, but way back over 10 years ago, I really started two groups. I was a young partner at a big law firm, and I suddenly realized, oh, I need to also build a book of business, right? So it's sort of like something they don't teach you in law school, something, when you're billing lots and lots of hours as an associate, you don't always have time to think about that. And I thought,
Right.
what do I enjoy? I really enjoy people. I've always been a gregarious person. In college, I used to just walk into the lunchroom, and if I didn't see friends, I'd just join a table and introduce myself. So that's always been sort of my mode of operation. Really embarrasses my kids because on the New York City subway system, I'll talk to complete strangers, which they think is really bizarre. But partly me, partly my growing up in Baltimore, which is a very friendly town, and everyone says hi to strangers and things. So it's a different, yeah, it's sort of the way I am. But I decided, hey, why not take that and start some networking groups? So I started one for other young, not all young, but all law partners who are also looking to meet each other to build sort of a referral network with each other. And also my clients and other in-house counsel I knew, I thought, why not get them together? And I started out with a separate, I kept these groups separate for a number of years just to sort of do casual networking events. And I'd find sponsors to pay for the drinks and, and the food and the venue. And, I think it, went very well for a number of years. Obviously, things changed a bit in the pandemic. So when the pandemic occurred, I decided to mix things up and really do something I had been planning before, but wasn't really able to get around to. But during the pandemic, I thought, well, this is the perfect opportunity to build an online platform where I can bring folks together not only from the New York area, but around the country. And our sponsor, it happened that our sponsor community happened to largely be in the legal tech space. So I thought, hey, here's my opportunity to marry my own personal interests with in-house counsel, outside counsel, and legal technologists. I call it BLT. If I was a sandwich, I'd be a BLT. I believe in bringing business, law, and technology together on individual projects as well as within the PARC platform. And I think if you have those three sectors talking to each other, we can learn a lot. As you point out, business, law, and technology, they all speak different languages. We need
Right.
we need to meet each other, learn each other's language to the degree that we can, and learn from each other. So essentially take some non-billable time, to get to know each other better. And I think for the outside counsel, hopefully that leads to billable time. For the in-house counsel, hopefully it leads to them expanding their network of potential firms they might want to work with, and also exploring legal technology options that might be interesting to them. And to the legal technology firms, that creates the opportunity to better understand the technology needs of both in-house counsel and outside counsel. So that's really PARC evolved over time, but I've always had this vision to bring those people together onto a single platform. So during the pandemic, I actually brushed off my old software engineering skills and worked with a CTO to build a brand new platform for all three communities to bring them together. So that's what PARC is that attempt to bring my long-term vision of how those three areas should work together and give it a physical reality. I also think over that time, particularly younger folks have maybe been less involved with bar associations. And I think I really value bar associations. I think they do really important work. But I do think there's some element of what happened in the publishing industry that's sort of happening to bar associations. And some will continue to thrive and be successful, but I candidly think there will be fewer of them, and that people are going to be looking for alternative ways to get together. And I think in the pandemic, all of us of all ages got a crash course in how to sort of connect virtually and online. And I think that new skill set for some of us, some of it's digital natives maybe already had that skill set, but other of us had to learn it. And I think
Yep.
now we can all meet in this kind of new environment and get to know each other better. And I think it's a really great way to network. Takes some getting used to, but you can actually accomplish a lot. And as we try to manage our time, even when hopefully many of us are going back to the office or going into some hybrid situation, even then, it would be a mistake, I think, to lose this new skill set we have, which is to network in that virtual world and get to know each other better. So I'm really excited about, we have many plans for PARC, but right now we're in the sort of membership acquisition phase where we're bringing
Right.
the platform, exploring how we can all work together more effectively. But I think what we're trying to do is take the best of the social media tools and the best of what bar associations have to offer and bring it together in a sort of a practice neutral. Any specialty area can participate, sector neutral. You can be in-house, you can be outside, you can be legal tech, and also geography neutral. So you could literally be anywhere in the world and participate in our community. I think when you go to other industries outside of law, there's a degree of sophistication in sort of the research arm of customer
Right.
service. And I tried in my own way to bring that to my legal practice. So that's, I think, something that I try to do in my outside ventures as well. What is the membership experience? How can we do it better? And one thing that's great, and I've learned on, if you have sort of a SaaS platform, a software as a service platform, what's great is the turnaround time to add new features is so much quicker than when you're operating
Right.
brick and mortar business. So that's an exciting place to be where someone says, like, so at PARC, we're pretty much set up. Yeah, there are some limitations in what we can do, but if a member wants a new feature on the site, if it's feasible technically, it's a matter of weeks, and we can add the new feature
Right.
on the list as well.
So, and I know that under different hats in your various entrepreneurial ventures, you've done commission surveys and things like that. Is that going to be part of PARC or put under the same?
So I don't want to get too much into inside baseball, but we also have another venture we called In the House, which was the in-house component. So what we've done within the house is that's really become our think tank arm, where we do those kind of surveys and white papers that are typically sponsored. Sometimes they're not sponsored, and we just do research for the edification of the industry, depending if it's a matter of particular interest. But we also do sponsored surveys and white papers, focus groups, things like that. And that's actually just something that I think the industry needs. I mentioned we need more customer research, client research into how to better meet client needs. So we typically focus on those types of issues. They're anonymous surveys, and I think they advance the state of knowledge regarding best practices, both for in-house lawyers and outside lawyers. And
Right.
that's my sweet spot, or our sweet spot for those surveys. So I thought it made more sense to make In the House sort of a think tank where we can bring together experts, share information, and the social media piece is really under PARC, and we bring all three. I think of the BLT sectors: the business oriented
Right.
sector, the legal expert out primarily in law firms, but sometimes other places in terms of the niche specialties, and then the legal technology expert.
So to summarize, I think In the House, which has its own, is sort of like the think tank, sort of white paper generating group,
Right.
and PARC is going to take over the social interactive networking aspect of it.
Right.
So Chris, I guess two questions. The first is the simplest one. I hope if someone wants to learn more about either of your entrepreneurial events or about Chris Colvin, patent litigator extraordinaire, what's the best way to get in touch?
Well, I think if you want to find about what we're doing at Park, you can do Park is with a C, by the way, PARC, uh, legal.org. So you can go to parklegal.org and learn more about us. You can email me at chris@parklegal.org. You can also, Google me. There aren't that many Chris Colvins. It's not like John Smith or something. So you can usually find me. I'm not, unfortunately, the basketball player who was a star in college and I think plays in some form of professional basketball. Because when people Google me, they sometimes find a basketball player. So I wish that was me, but it's
I get confused with, I think, the ambassador to Canada, former general counsel of Comcast. So yes,
so I'm easy enough to find, and I welcome inquiries. In fact, I love speaking with legal practitioners if they're potentially interested in joining Park or getting involved with a survey. That's great. I really just enjoy one-on-one networking in addition to the sort of group networking that has been sort of the bread and butter of my entrepreneurial projects over the years. Yeah, and by the way, that's one of the long-term goals at Park is to try, the law is a big ship and it turns slowly, and I get that and understand that. But I do think, particularly, I think you can apply this to both legal departments and law firms. I would really like to get to a place where, let's say you're an associate general counsel at a sizable company. I would like to get to a place where the company is not only tolerant of you developing your own career, but fully supportive of that. Yes, go out and network, speak at conferences, speak on Zoom sessions now during the pandemic.
right.
So because I do think that enlightened companies, in my view, want, and I would say the same for law firms, they want their employees to be successful, even if that means going somewhere else, because then you have an alumni community that will talk up your company, maybe become a client if you're a law firm, maybe they become a client of the firm. And I think we should think long term as companies, and make sure that our people are really being groomed. And I think sometimes you see the attitude of wanting to keep the talented people under wraps, like you don't want
Yeah.
competition to get them. But I think it's apologies for my dog. I think we had a delivery. The hazards of Zoom calls during the pandemic. But you know, I think that attitude of we're keeping these talented people in house and we don't want them out there circulating because someone might hire them away. I think that's an example of short-term thinking.
Well, it's a lot. It sort of runs from a lot of not invented here business, and which is, as we know, in the disaggregated world of innovation nowadays and just business, that doesn't always work very well.
Correct.
And it also creates sort of a stultifying culture
Right.
within the company. And the better managers that I've seen, whether in any context, are those that are willing to train you and are happy for your success wherever you go, because you know it's a big world, but it's a lot smaller than people think. And you think that your life is forever and wherever you are, but it's a long, there's a long arc of history in your own personal profession. And if you keep in touch and you're good with people, your mentors, your mentees, your reports, your bosses, like never burn bridges, because you never know where you're going to be. And it's definitely a very valid point.
Yeah, and I think we can all take a page here from Silicon Valley companies where I think it's common knowledge that those companies groom lots of high quality engineering talent and business talent. And there's a lot of movement between companies.
Right.
And very often that leads to both the company, say the person leaves, the company starts a new company. There often then will be a partnership between the two companies in a mutually beneficial way. So there's less of a view of a talent drain, more as maybe that's an opportunity for both companies. So I think,
And especially as there's more specialization within the law, for example, a lot of law firms are specializing in different aspects of things, and you know, but even like some of the most white shoe of the white shoey firms, I remember hiring one of them in the UK, and they had a magic circle, I think they call, and they referred. me to an associate, a senior associate who just wasn't going to make partner at the firm, and he started his own shop, and it was a great relationship, and they were both very complimentary to each other, and and those are the kinds of small things, but definitely allowing your employees within reasonable limits to sort of explore them different aspects, I think is going to redound to everyone's benefit.
Yeah, and I think that does one larger issue I wanted to touch on, which is I do think some disruption is coming to the legal profession. It's maybe been a little slow in coming, but I do think it's going to happen. And my
Right.
message to all legal professionals, whether you're on the in-house side, the outside counsel side, or the legal tech side, is I think we're better off disrupting ourselves and innovating ourselves, because if we don't, I think there is risk that the disruption comes from some form from the outside.
Right.
I think
That's hard
that,
to predict how it's going to be, and it can be really challenging.
yeah, and I think by innovating in various ways, I think we can better serve our clients, whether we're an in-house lawyer with one client or an outside counsel with dozens of clients or a legal tech company with thousands of customers. I think innovation will ultimately better serve the business side. And so I think we need to figure out how do we innovate to become more client driven and more efficient.
Definitely. And on that note, Chris, thank you again for spending time. Really appreciate it. You have a fascinating career. I'm sure anyone who wants to know more about Chris's many endeavors can look him up. We'll post some information when this goes out in social media to follow up. But once again, thank you for joining us, and looking forward to our next podcast, and looking forward to keeping in touch with Chris as well. Thank
My
you again.